Hey y'all, welcome back, and welcome if you are new. My name is Sam and welcome to my channel. I have some easy and delicious weeknight meal ideas for you this week, so let's just get right into the video. Okay guys, so we're going to start off this week with it's like a copycat Olive Garden cheese tortellini with chicken. It's so easy and delicious. I will leave this recipe up on my blog so you can find it there. I've got it's probably a little blurred out, but I've got my Alfredo recipe pulled up on my computer. The link to this will be in the description box as well, so you can find that there. But for the Alfredo sauce, you're going to need some butter, garlic, milk and cream, some flour and some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of salt and pepper. I've got this Cheese Lovers tortellini, so I'm going to cook that up in some boiling water, which I've got that going on the stove. And then I've got about 3 pieces of chicken here, just cut in half. I'm just going to season this up with a little bit of this honey garlic, a barbecue rub. If I can find this online, I will leave it linked below, as well as some salt and pepper, and you'll need some olive oil to cook it in. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this going, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's all started. Okay, so I've got both sides of my chicken coated in that honey garlic barbecue rub with some salt and pepper, so that's ready to go. My water is boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and put my pasta on and then start my Alfredo sauce, and this should come together very, very quickly. Okay, so my tortellini is done. I've got to drain that. My chicken is almost done. My Alfredo sauce is almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and drain this. Let this finish cooking up, add my cheese to my Alfredo sauce, and then I'll meet you right back here and we'll combine the tortellini and the Alfredo sauce. Okay, so my chicken is done. I just took it off. I'm going to let it sit here for about 5 minutes or so, just to let it kind of cool down a little bit and kind of mellow out so those juices stay in the chicken. And my tortellini is done. I've got that all mixed up. So as soon as the chicken is rested and I slice a few pieces up, I will go ahead and make my plate. Alright, so here is my plate. I've just got some of that cheese tortellini with the Alfredo sauce and some chicken on top, and I just topped it with a little bit of parsley. You can add some more not Alfredo sauce, but some Parmesan cheese to this if you like. But yeah, this smells so good. I can't wait to dig in. So yeah, that's what's for dinner tonight. For dinner tonight, I'm going to be making a taco spaghetti. It sounded so good, so that's what I'm going to be making tonight. I've got some spaghetti noodles here. I've got some diced tomatoes. I'm pretty sure you can use Rotel if that's what you have on hand. I'm just going to use just plain old diced tomatoes. Got some onion, garlic, got some parsley, a packet of taco seasoning, some cheese. I'm going to use beef broth instead of water. The recipe calls for water, so I just added some beef broth powder to this just to give it a little bit more flavor. I'm also going to add some salt and pepper and some ground beef. Now I will leave the link to this recipe in the description box below, so you can click that link and check out this recipe. So I've got some water coming up to a boil on the stove. While that's coming up to boil, I am going to start on the beef and onion mixture. Alright, to my pan here, I've just got it over medium-low heat. I've added my ground beef, my onions, a little bit of salt and pepper. So I'm just going to break this up and let this cook until the onions are tender and the ground beef is completely cooked through. Okay, so I've added my garlic in there. I'm just going to let this cook for about 30 seconds, and then we will add in our taco sauce, or taco seasoning, tomatoes, and our chicken broth. Okay, so I've added my taco seasoning and my parsley, and I just let that cook up for about a minute or two. If you have any extra grease from your ground meat, you can go ahead and remove that before you add the taco seasoning. So now I'm just going to add in my diced tomatoes and my beef broth, or you can use just water. So I'm going to let this come up to a boil, and I'm going to let this cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, while this is cooking, I'm going to cook my pasta. My water's come up to a boil, so I'm going to get that in there and let this come up to a boil and cook for about 15 minutes, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so this has got about 8 minutes left. My pasta is about a quarter of the way cooked. I wanted to give it a little bit of a head start in the pan. So I'm just going to add my pasta in there and give this a little toss. And then we're going to finish cooking this the rest of the way until the pasta is tender. Alright, so this has been cooking for about 10 minutes covered, and my pasta is tender, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my heat off, and then we're going to add in the cheese. So the cheese is going on top, and then we're going to kind of let this sit for about 5 minutes or so, just to let the cheese kind of melt down and get all gooey. And then I will make my plate. Alright, so this is what it looks like when the cheese is all nice and melted. It smells so good. So I'm going to go ahead and make my plate. Alright, so here is my plate. It looks so good. So that's what's for dinner tonight. Alright, for dinner tonight, we're going to be having some barbecue chicken. I'm going to be making it in the crock pot. So, all I've got in here, I just went ahead and greased my crock pot. I added in some chicken thighs and salt and pepper. Did that on both sides of the chicken. I've got an onion here that I've got just sliced and separated, and some barbecue sauce. So what I'm going to do is just pour the barbecue sauce on all of the chicken. I don't know, probably about half of a bottle. And then I'm just going to top that with the onions right on top. See if I can do this without making too much of a mess. That should do it. Uh-oh, I've got some pieces left here. There we go. So all I'm going to do now is attach the lid to this like that, and then I'm just going to set this to low, and I'm going to let this cook for about 5 to 6 hours. You can also do this on low for about 3 to 4 hours. So I will meet you right back here when this is all done. Okay, so my barbecue chicken is done. It smells absolutely delicious. Cannot wait to dig in. I've just turned my crock pot down to warm. I'm going to go ahead and shred this up. In the meantime, I'm going to pop some fries in the air fryer. Let those cook up and get all nice and toasty brown. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll meet you back and we'll plate this up. Alright, so here is my plate. I've just got some of that barbecue chicken here on a little bun. You can add some more barbecue sauce to this, or some pickles would be really good. I don't have any pickles, but this will be just fine. I've got some French fries here and some ketchup with some black pepper. So yeah, that's what's for dinner tonight. Tonight we are going to be making the Pioneer Woman's lasagna soup. Now I had it wrote down on my meal plan as skillet lasagna. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's lasagna soup. Anyways, I've got my book here. This is what it looks like. This is the Pioneer Woman's lasagna soup. I'm not going to share the instructions or ingredients or the measurements, but I will leave the link to her book in the description box below, so you can click that link and check it out. But here is a little overview of everything you're going to need, minus the ingredients for her ricotta dumplings. I will make that when the soup is cooking. I don't have the ingredients set out for that. This is just for the soup. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up my onions and get my ground beef in the skillet, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I've got my ground beef and my onion mixture here, coming up to almost being done, really. It's got just a few more minutes to cook and that will be done. I've got some water coming up to a boil for my pasta. So I'm just going to let this finish up cooking, and then we will add in the rest of our ingredients. Alright, so I'm just checking in, and I brought this up to a boil, and then I just turn it down to low, and I'm going to let this simmer, I don't know, about 15 to 20 minutes per directions in her book. And my pasta is cooking up. As soon as that gets almost done, I'm going to drain it because it does say to cook it shy of being done. So that is almost there. So I'm going to let this finish up, and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so I went ahead and added in my cooked and drained noodles to this. I'm just going to let this simmer for the last 5 minutes. I've already made the ricotta mixture. So this is the ricotta mixture, and this right here is so good, guys. And it smells so delicious in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my cream to the mixture and let it finish cooking, and then we will plate this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Here is my bowl of this delicious soup. This is the lasagna soup from the Pioneer Woman. It is so good. All of the flavors of lasagna without the hassle of making a lasagna. So good. So if I was to pick anything from this week to make, definitely make all of them. They are all equally as delicious. But to choose, I would have to say the Olive Garden tortellini and this soup right here. This is so good. So I'm going to go enjoy this. This is what's for dinner tonight. I am making some tomato soup and grilled cheese for dinner tonight. It just sounded so good. Plus it's comforting, and we could use some comforting food right now. So that's what we're doing. I've got some bread and cheese here for my grilled cheese. You're also going to need some butter for both of these. I just haven't got it out. So bread, cheese for the grilled cheese. I've got some chicken broth, an onion, cream, some tomatoes. Now you can use whatever kind of tomatoes you have on hand, whether it's whole tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, whatever. It's going to get blended up anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So I'm using crushed tomatoes because I don't have any diced tomatoes. So I've got that. I've got some minced garlic here, some salt and pepper, and I've got some basil and oregano. Now I've got some sugar set out here. I'm going to taste this at the end and see if it needs to be a little sweeter. It really depends on the tomatoes, on if I add sugar or not. But if I do, I will let you know. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up my can of tomatoes and dice my onions, and then we will get this going on the stove. Okay, so I've got my onions in here. I just added about a tablespoon of butter, and then added in my onions, a little bit of salt and pepper. I didn't add much salt or pepper because I can always add some more later. So I'm just going to let this sit here and cook until the onions are tender. And then we will add in our garlic and our seasoning. Okay, so after my onions were tender, I just added in some garlic and a little bit of basil and oregano. Let that cook for about 30 seconds. And then I added in my tomatoes and broth. So what I'm going to do now is just bring this up to a boil and let this, I'll turn it down to low and then let it kind of simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll meet you back here. Alright, so I just took the soup off the stove. It's still pretty hot. Now what I'm going to do is blitz it up until it's smooth from a little stick blender here. But you can do a blender. I would recommend filling the blender halfway up, putting the lid on it, taking the center cap of the lid out, putting a towel, like a hand towel over the top, and then blending it on low, because you do not want a volcano of molten lava tomato soup all over you in the kitchen. That's not good. So just take your precautionary steps when you're messing with hot liquid in a blender. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this up, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll make some grilled cheese. Okay, so my soup is nice and smooth, and it's thickened up and it's creamy. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my cream. You can also do half and half in here. And give this a little stir. And I'm just going to let this hang out and cool down a bit while I make my grilled cheese. My grilled cheese are pretty simple, pretty basic. Just 2 pieces of bread, slap some butter on both sides, put some cheese in the middle, brown it up on both sides, and then you're pretty much good to go. So I'm going to let these finish up, and then we will make our soup. Alright guys, here is my plate. I've got my tomato soup here. I just added a little bit of olive oil to the top. That's how I like it. You don't have to add it. You can do some red pepper flakes on this, or some green onion, whatever you want. And here is my grilled cheese. So that is what's for dinner tonight. Okay, so here is this coming up week's meal plan. So for Monday we're going to have a shepherd's pie. It's one of our favorites. I cook this all the time. I've made this same exact recipe for many years. It's absolutely delicious. Tuesday we're going to have slow cooker chicken and dressing. It is not quite fall yet here. It is still 90 degrees outside, but fall food is calling my name. So we're going to have slow cooker chicken and dressing for Tuesday. Wednesday we're going to have potato cheddar soup. Thursday we're going to have broccoli cheese chicken. Friday we're going to have ravioli lasagna. So yeah, you guys, that is this week's meal plan. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.